I've seen this face before, and it's true. You're standing at my door. You see, every time I try to stay away from you, I lose my mind. I fall behind. We played these games before. You see, every time I try to live my life, you come undone. This time you won. So won't you kill me some more? Kill me.
Oh, let's go.
I thought that this would be fitting, given the comments that we left on for the break. We are entering the danger zone every time Steve opens his mouth. You're listening to 87 Live on 87 Sports Fans Radio. Keith Grieve and Steve Taylor, now gratefully joined by Jim Sarantee, as we will try to keep your reputation from being sullied, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much, Keith and Steve. God bless you guys.
I hope so.
We're going to need it. We're going to need it. Okay. So you know the Twitter handle is at the Fantasy Greek, the website, thefantasygreek.com. Jim, thanks for joining us again.
Guys, thanks for having me. Great evening. Like we were talking right before we came on, we're sort of at that point in the summer that we're so close for things starting to happen. Nice weather, summer fests.
It's just you got the OTA starting, and you got little pockets of drama. You know, the Bears are missing Gabe Karimi for whatever reason. He feels like he doesn't need it. And the Giants have a situation going on with Hakeem Nicks and Victor Cruz. What's your take on that whole sitch?
You know, let's start off with Hakeem Nicks. I think it's the easier one to just handle. I mean, the story is he hasn't shown up for OTAs, and some scuttlebutt back and forth of whether or not he said he was coming, he wasn't coming. But here's the bottom line. Of course he's not going to go. I mean, here's a guy, first of all, it's voluntary, but then here's a guy who, in 4 seasons, he's yet to complete a full season. He's missed slightly better than 2 games per season, and, you know, that's kind of holding him back from being that number 1 receiver that the Giants want him to be. He's in a contract year. If he's going to be the number 1 receiver for this team, he's got to be producing 1,200-plus yards receiving, 8 to 12 TDs per year. And unfortunately, when you're hurt the way he is, that's not going to happen. So, you know, I'm not too concerned about Hakeem Nicks. On the other hand, the Victor Cruz situation is slightly different.
Do you see it extending into training camp, or is this something that's just going to be? Everyone's all nervous about it now, but by the time July rolls around, we'll all forget about it.
That's what should happen, and here's why. Right now, as it stands, Victor Cruz and the Giants are trying to negotiate a deal, which, you know, depending what reports you hear, you know, they're $1 to $2 million apart. I've heard the $8 million number bandied about, you know, through Twitter or whatever, all other sources of news. That's sort of the number. But the issue here is this, and here's where you know, you like to think Victor Cruz is a level-headed guy, and he's the guy that the Giants really want to keep, and I think that there's probably some truth to that, is that he's level-headed. He's going to see this in terms of June 17th is the day that if he signs his tender, he's getting $2.9 million for the year, and then he's a free agent. If he doesn't sign it by then, his salary is going to drop down to $630,000. So the smart person is going to sign it, even if they just want it for a year, because who wants $630,000 when you have $2.9 million? And hopefully he is actually signed to a long-term deal. You'd like to see that happen before June 17th, because otherwise Victor Cruz could lose all his bargaining position.
Is it me, and I'm trying to find a stat on it right now, because I get these mid-conversation brainstorms.
I hate that about you.
I know. I like to keep everybody on their toes.
Shiny penny.
His receptions were, you know, pretty even, 82 to 86, comparing 2011 to 2012. Yardage dipped a little bit, therefore sort of the yards per reception. But the few Giants games that I saw, that I watched, he seemed a little drop happy. Am I like just focusing on like 1 or 2 bad examples, or?
No, I mean, I agree with you. I think we've all seen Hakeem Nicks drop. We're talking about Hakeem Nicks, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about Victor Cruz. Sorry. No,
I was going to say Hakeem Nicks seems a little drop happy to me, but Victor Cruz last year definitely was. I don't know where his head was at some points during the season, because I think walking into last season, we all expected some pretty big things out of him, given the 1,500-plus yards he caught 2 seasons ago, and it didn't quite happen. I think Victor Cruz is probably a little bit more subject to the sensitivities of Eli Manning than Hakeem Nicks. If you look at Nicks' stats, he's been a little bit more consistent over the years, or the past 3 years, where Cruz, we've only really got 2 seasons he's done anything.
Right.
And his best season was when Eli Manning had his blowout season. I mean, otherwise, Eli Manning's been pretty much kind of a flat quarterback. Nobody's talking about him being an elite quarterback this year.
Right. But with Cruz scares me, and I'll tell you why. Because now I'm hearing rumors, whispers in the media, the mainstream media, about him getting a reality show. Have you heard that one?
You know what? I saw something about it. I didn't immediately investigate it because I thought to myself, you know, this is a joke. At some point, Victor Cruz was put on record saying there's no way he would do it, and at that point, I pretty much said enough of this. Yeah. Why waste the time on this story?
I just with the whole hubbub in the summer, and now the rumor of that, it's just a distraction that somebody like Cruz, who really needs to focus, I think, anyway, needs to. So, but like looking at the Giants' depth chart, if God forbid something were to happen where one of these guys isn't ready for opening day, You got Lewis Murphy and Ruben Randall behind him right now. Something's got to give, and I think, like what you said, what should happen, that by the time training camp comes, everyone will just fall into line.
But the one positive out of this whole thing, though, is if you watch any of the interviews with Eli Manning, he's pretty positive, and with the amount of work that he has been getting in with these other receivers, and they seem like they're pretty focused on improving every aspect of their game, knowing that there might be a slim chance there's an open door for them to sneak in if one of these two guys don't show up to training camp. So what is a negative could in the long run turn out to be a positive if some of these young receivers can gel with Eli now, and maybe by mid-season he can have a deeper receiving core than he did, say, the start of last year.
Steve, I totally agree with you. The Giants have always been one of these teams where, outside of they always have three productive receivers on the field, two of which are always fantasy studs. The third one kind of goes in and out of the game. But you look at last year with Hakeem Nicks missing some time. I mean, Hickson was able to be productive. Ramses Barden was able to be productive at certain times. These were players that you just know, given Eli Manning, he can make them productive. So I agree with you. I think this is great for all the other receivers to have some time with them. It'll give an opportunity for one of them to hopefully claim that third spot. And, if things don't work out for either Victor Cruz or Hakeem Nicks, not so much this year, but after this year, the Giants would be in a better place.
But Nicks is an injury risk, too. I mean, he's been banged up. Little Nicks and, no pun intended.
I was going to say.
little Nicks here or there. Yeah. I really didn't mean that one. And it came out of my mouth. I'm like, ooh, that was bad. But
and you think people stop listening to our show because of me?
Yeah. So
Jesus.
No, I don't think that anymore.
I got you.
But the Giants have another question at tight end in Brandon Myers, and I know I'm catching you off the cuff here, Jim. But what's your take on the tight end situation now that Martellus Bennett is a Bear?
I think this is great. I mean, Brandon Myers showed he could be productive last year with Carson Palmer. And obviously Eli Manning is at least equally as good as Carson Palmer, if not better. Martellus Bennett, what did he have? 850 yards receiving, roughly 4 touchdowns.
About that, yeah.
I mean, Brandon Myers should be in line for that same production. And at that point, in fantasy, that I believe off the top of my head, that should put him as a low-end TE1, definitely a top TE2.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think he should be productive in that offense because some way, somehow, the Giants find a way to get the tight end position involved.
So keep an eye on the Giants going forward. Just because I'm not sure they expected big things out of Ruben Randall last year. Am I wrong?
Yeah, they did. I think that was just a lot of pressure on a young guy. I expected something too. I expected him to work his way into the slot receiver position. He's a second-year receiver this year, so now you hope that he's in a better place to get to be the slot receiver. But if it takes one more year, so be it. And then next year will definitely be telling for him.
Okay. Moving on to the AFC North and the Cleveland Browns and their stud running back last year, Trent Richardson. Now Rob Chudzinski, which is going to be a tough name for me all year long.
Good thing we don't talk about Cleveland a lot.
Right.
Right.
The Browns will hold Richardson out for the remainder of the minicamp, but expects him to be ready for the start of training camp. What's your take on that whole situation?
Right now, to me, it's pretty much a non-story. The original injury had to do with, I think somebody stepped on his shin, so there's some sort of a lower leg strain, calf strain, what have you.